So this is kind of an impromptu video today. The last video that I posted was on a Monday. The very next day, about 3 weeks ago today, I went to work and I was running back from lunch because I had been watching YouTube videos in my car, and I realized that it was time to get back on the time clock. So I was running from my car back into work, and I was looking at the people who were talking out in front of the building and trying to just figure out who they were. So if I knew I better go this way or if I should go this way, I was trying to figure out who they were. And I didn't see how close the speed bump was underneath me, and I stumbled across that speed bump running, and I went, and it all happened in slow motion. And all I could think of was, not the face, don't hit the face. So everything went down on my right hand, and I broke my elbow. So I can't get my contact lens back in, so I've been in my glasses, and I'm only working half days right now until it gets to where I can do a little bit better job at work. So I have spent the afternoon honing my wig closet and trying to see what I'm wearing and what I'm not wearing, and kind of curate a little bit. So I came across my very first wig. My very first wig came in a bag like this. It didn't have any pretty packaging, and I spent all the money on this. It's from a company called Godiva's Secret Wigs, and I just remember combing through the website on my phone it was 2016, and my mom in Kansas was combing through the web pages with me and trying to decide on a color and a style, and it came in a bag like this. And so now I'm thinking, because all of this packaging takes up so much room in my closet, that maybe this is the way that I pack them for traveling. When I go back to Kansas to visit my sisters, when we went to Vegas, I pack them this way, and maybe that's because I got my first wig that way. So I'm wondering if that's maybe a better way for me to get rid of all of these empty boxes, is to pack them the way I got this one. So before I forget, let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about that. They come with box hair anyway, I think, So my first wig doesn't have a name. It's a white label, and I didn't know anything about white labeling. So this is probably a Noriko wig of some sort that they probably don't make anymore. And I think it's sugarcane R or something like that. I hacked a bang in it. I'm going to see if I can put it on here for you. I've been having help in the morning getting my wigs on, so let's see if I can get it on. Very impromptu video. I wasn't planning on filming for a while. My hair has really grown quite a bit, and I just leave it in this ponytail up here all the time, so this is how I do it every day. I don't wear a wig cap. Just put on the wig grip and make sure it's going the rough way here. So if I remember right, I think this had a pretty large cap. I think this is sugarcane R in probably Noriko's line. I know I wanted it rooted, but it has a white I didn't know about white labeling. So a company, any brand you want to be, can partner with like Noriko or Rene Paris and put their own label on it. It has the like the bra strap pulls on it, and it doesn't have any features. No lace front, just standard cap. It has a metal stay in the very front. I can feel it right there, but no metal stays in the back. Not too bad of a nape. And then it just has kind of not felt. These are not felt ear tabs. They're like the lace on the top, and I don't think there's a metal stay in this. But it's a closed ear tab. So let me see if I can get it on for you. Yeah, there's that metal stay in the front. So I remember just feeling like it was, I remember not recognizing myself and feeling like it was just like a helmet, like all I could see was my face in it, you know. The bangs were very long. I didn't know about steaming. I didn't have product. I had nothing. In fact, I sewed in those kind of clips. I bought a bunch of them, and I remember sitting at night and sewing those in, and then they left terrible bald spots everywhere I put them, and so I had to cut them out. But this is my first wig. I don't know what the name is. The name wouldn't be what the name is anyway, but I think that it's a discontinued one. But this is the one that I learned on. And I've seen a lot of comments in Facebook groups and reading comments of other YouTubers' videos that I've seen, and people leaving comments about how do you wear it outside first? How do you introduce yourself into your own life? And I remember plotting a story. I remember it well. So I got used to it. Every night I would come home from work. I couldn't wait to get home and put it on, and I would sit in front of the mirror and I would take a lot of selfies and send them to my mom, because my mom is the one who pulled the trigger. We picked it out, and then I hemmed hawed. The money was just outrageous. And at the time, I just remember thinking, I was thinking it would last forever. Is what I was thinking, that it would last forever. I didn't know. So I thought about it, because I actually have some pictures to show you how I looked at the time. I sent my mom selfies of myself, so no judgment. This is in 2016. I was taking selfies of myself for my mom so she could see how desperate I was, because I have a very public job. That's how I looked. I think I wore this shirt to work yesterday. I was in desperate need of help. I would get up really early in the mornings, and I would spray my head with black spray paint. And I dyed all the rest of my hair black to make it easy, because I didn't know what else to do. And as the days would go on, that black spray paint and Topic, I put the black spray paint on, and then I doused Topic. I was going through Topic like crazy. I was in Sally's every weekend buying another Topic, that fiber stuff. But the spray paint would melt down into my ears, and I would hear people whispering, and I could hear, is that paint? What is that? Is that makeup? And I knew they were talking about me, and I was losing my life, because I suffered from trichotillomania, and I was diagnosed in 1977. So I was diagnosed at 10 years old, but I had come on the 2 years prior to that. So I've been suffering and lying about my hair since I was 8 years old, and I'm 52 now. That's a long time to have it. So that's my humble beginnings. Very impromptu video. I did not expect to do this today, but coming across this brought out a lot of memories. So how did I go from that to this? At the time, I was living in the Central Valley of California, Northern California, and I had spent 10 years living in Fresno, and then 5 years in Sacramento. I spent a year in Southern California in Riverside. Then I spent 2 years in Stockton, and then another 2 years in Modesto and that's where I was at this time. So I have my own 2 sons in Fresno, and I have 2 stepsons in Sacramento. So we were going to Sacramento quite a bit. And a 3-day holiday was coming up. A 3-day weekend was coming up. And when I got back to work on Tuesday, I showed up like this. And everyone was just blown away. You know, just blown away. I mean, it put 10 years right back on my face. I mean, you just saw me before I put this on. That's a 52-year-old woman looking at you right there. And this is like a 34-year-old. But I lied. I had been lying anyway, and said that I had gone to Sacramento over the weekend and gotten extensions put in my hair. And I was just trying them out. Because I had been watching, no judgment, I've been watching the Keeping Up with the Kardashians since it started for years. And I started realizing, one minute you see them in the kitchen eating and talking, and then the next thing you see them sitting and they're talking about that scene or what, you know. And so in the kitchen they'd have hair like this, but in the long and black and luscious. But then in the interviews they'd have short blonde bobs, and you're flipping back and forth, and it's like we don't even notice that is off. And so I started Googling Kardashian wigs, you know, Kim Kardashian wigs, Khloe Kardashian wigs, because how does Khloe go from long, straight black hair with dark roots, long rooted, to these beachy, wavy blondes in just a flash of an eye? And we're not thinking anything about it. Could find nothing about it on wigs. And this is before the little one, the little Jenner girl, Kylie, before she started wearing wig colors and stuff. So I know they have them now. But in 2016, I didn't. So if you watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians season 2015 and 16, that's what I started noticing. I'm like, nobody bats an eye at that. So, and I showed up to work on Tuesday looking like this. I stunned everyone. No one recognized me. What did you do to your hair, Dawn? What is that? What is that? Let me see that. Let me see that. And I just said, it's extensions. I had extensions woven into my hair, and it cost me a fortune. And that was not a lie, because this had cost me a fortune. And I was very, very uncomfortable wearing it because I couldn't feel how it was doing on the top, and it was in my face, and I didn't know how to finesse it. So fortunately, the position I had at the time was a big phone. You do a lot of work on the phone, calling employers, talking to people, and they always said, smile and dial, smile and dial. So I got a big mirror right in front of myself so I could see it all the time. So I've always used that. From now on, I've always had a mirror in front of me so I could constantly see if it was doing okay. And so this is where my wig journey began. And now I'm here, and I went through all of the same U-turns that I see most of us go through, which is you try the deep tress wigs with the black root that comes way down. I think there's still some of those photos in Facebook of mine. I can't tell you the name of it. Free equal tress wigs and Diva Tress wigs and Vivica Fox, and then I got just lit on fire with them. And I wanted to be bleach blonde. I wanted to be curly. I wanted everything. I couldn't stop. I was looking for that right one. I was looking for the one that looked like me. And pretty much now, I can find me when I put any of these on now. But you got to realize that's 3 years later, almost 4 years later. In fact, I think I'll wear this to work tomorrow. Give her some love. I wound up hacking a bang into her because I'd worn bangs since I was a little girl. Mom used to go, I can still hear the scissors go across my forehead. And I have all of these lines now that I'm self-conscious of it. And so I just felt like I felt more like myself when I had a bang. But, you know, when they're new and they're face floppers, you don't know what they're doing and how it looks, and it can look wiggy. And I didn't want it to look wiggy. So I remember watching Wigs by Patty's Pearls teach me how to make a dirty bang. And I I I tried on the free dress equal wigs and did a poor job until I got where I felt like I could do it just right. And I got this. I got an old-fashioned clothing steamer, like just a clothing steamer, and tried to get it from being too clumpy because I couldn't figure out what was sticking together so bad. No one ever talked about like the clumping of it and the sticking together. It didn't feel soft and wonderful anymore. But that's when I started realizing that I like it better after it's been broken, worn around, whipped around in the wind, so it can stick together a little bit better. Yeah. So that's how I introduced myself into the world of wigs. And then after a certain point, what I said was, when it started getting to where I was getting these wigs at home, oh my God, I couldn't wait to get home to see that box on the porch. Oh my God, I would rush home at lunchtime just to get the box and just to have it, you know. I couldn't wait till the end of the day. And then when I wanted to try other styles, and I'm talking other styles like stacked up pixie cuts, totally different styles. I wanted to do, where's this one here? Hang on. Like this. I wanted to look like that at work. Like that at work. How could I go from this to that? So I just started doing it. I didn't care anymore. I just didn't care anymore. I had been bit by the bug, and the odd thing about it is I could go from one extreme hair style and shape and cut to the next, and no one noticed. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So at the time I was working in a for-profit vocational school. So people would enroll to learn medical assisting, pharmacy technician, massage therapy, and I was responsible for their resumes, their cover letters, getting their interviewing skills up to speed, and reaching out to employers, helping them get interviews and that kind of thing. So I would go into classrooms and do presentations on LinkedIn and social media and resumes and what to say, what not to say. So they would see me in class like this, and then they would come in the next day to see me in person, and I'd be in a kinky curly wig. And they'd never, like, no one ever said anything. And I had my ear to the ground. I was definitely listening for it. So that's how I started, and that's how I got into it. And so for a long time, I didn't know how to take a compliment. And I think that's because of how I was raised. So I love your hair. And I always felt compelled to tell him it's a wig. And then I thought, well, why? Women get boob jobs, and when they say, you know, you look really great today. Oh, thanks, it's my boobs. It's my boob job. People don't say that, you know. Or I love your nail polish. Oh, thanks, they're fake. No one says that. No one does that. So at this point in my game, in my wig career, in the wig world, I just assume that everybody knows I'm wearing a wig. How could they not? How could you not pay attention to me to know that one day I'm brunette, the next day I'm bleach blonde? How can you not pay attention? Of course it's a wig, you know? So if you're saying, you know, hey, I love your hair. What, did you get up extra early and curl that? I don't wake up like this. Of course this takes effort. This takes finessing. Thank you so much. Because I'm assuming they know it's a wig. So why am I going to tell them it's a wig? So I love your hair. Thanks. Where do you get it done? You know, it's a secret. But if you like it as much as, you know, if you really like this, give me a call. I'll talk to you about it. You know, and usually it's not, you know, girl, you can't afford this. As much as they charge for this, you can't afford it, I'm telling you. But if you really want to know, call me. And that's all I say. So I'm still here. I'm on the mend. And I'm wondering how I should put these all back in my wig closet. Because I'm tired of all this packaging. I'm tired of all these boxes and stuff. So I've seen a lot of different ideas on how people store their wigs. And when I was really in the throes of it, I had them hanging everywhere, hanging off the door. I remember going over and getting one of those hooks that you hook on the back of the door that has the little hooks you can hook your clothes on, or like bathrobes on. And I got one of those with as many hooks as I could find. I had them hooked on both hooks all across the door. They were hanging off the dresser knobs. They were all over the place. And my husband was like freaking out. He was like freaking out. He was freaking out. He was like, they're everywhere, but he didn't say anything, you know? And my hair didn't grow back right away. This is now 3 years later. I have what I have now. And I think a lot of it is because I have a Chihuahua. And my life has changed too. Battling trichotillomania is no joke. And my mom had always wanted me to start a YouTube channel back then when we were looking at wigs and trying to decide what to do. And she would say, you need to start this. You need to get on there and just say something, just do it. But I didn't want to embarrass my husband. I didn't want to embarrass his family. And I didn't want to embarrass myself because I didn't feel like I had legit hair loss, because everyone I was watching at the time had alopecia, had cancer, going through chemotherapy, having surgeries of all various sorts, heart surgeries, stomach surgeries, weight loss surgeries, and ear surgeries. And so the women I was watching who aren't on YouTube anymore, they were losing their hair for different reasons, and they had no control over it. And I've heard my whole life, if you're pulling it out, you cannot pull it out. And that's not true. But I just didn't feel like I felt like I didn't fit in the category of hair loss at that time. But I obviously have been dealing with it since I was in the 6th grade. I went to school looking like that because they didn't have wigs like that, and they were grandma wigs. So I got bullied real bad. So you can't judge a book by its cover. A lot of people in the latter part of my life assumed that I was a cheerleader because I have an extrovert personality. But that came out of necessity, to be funny, to be likable, to be liked. And because I was alone, nobody wants to be friends with a girl who has no hair. What happened to your hair? Where's your hair? And how does a 10-year-old say, I pull it out one at a time? Because I'm living in a very toxic family life and exposed to PTSD, and that's the story of my life. So my husband says, well, you've got long hair now, and it is longer than I think I've ever had it. I mean, since I was like a real little girl. And he says, you ever think you'll go back to wearing your own hair again? And outside of the dog park, I said, no. Why would I? It's like asking me to stop wearing makeup, or asking me to stop wearing earrings, or be who I am, because I wear makeup to enhance my features, and I wear hair to have the style that I want, and it gives me 10 years right back on my look. I think the cost of these, buying them affordably, is about as much as going to Sally Beauty and buying spray paint and buying Rogaine and hair growth and Topic, and the money that I was spending on that, and hearing people say, as I heard someone say to me at work the other day, hey, you look just fine, you're just fine, but you're not fine inside, you're not. And I was becoming just a shell of myself, and I didn't recognize myself in the mirror anymore. So no, I'm always going to wear wigs. My hair has come back really well, but I still have a lot of spots in here, bald spots, and because I suffer from a mental disorder that there is no cure for. So now you know me just a little bit more. And so I hope you'll stay tuned. I'm thinking about doing Paula Young dupes for these. What do you think? Just an idea. We'll talk soon.